How's it going? Are you guys excited? I am excited because every single person that I speak with, every expert in the industry is telling me that the time of the woke is coming to an end. Not necessarily that it will end tomorrow, no, mind you. It's just that we have seen the worst. We have seen the worst, and it's time for the descent before we actually go and we got good entertainment again. And you kind of notice this with AAA. I mean, Spider-Man 2, a video game which cost around $350 million to make. It's a small fortune. I wonder if the country of Liechtenstein has a budget of $350 million. Like, this is insane. So a video game which costs $350 million to make is giving you, like, what? 20, maybe 30 hours of playtime. You don't even own it. Like, it's not your game. You have access to their servers. You got the ability to create a user and play it. And then when you finally get there, you realize that it's not even very good. A lot of cringe dialogue. It's not memorable. Probably you're not going to play it in 10 years. Very run-of-the-mill, nothing original, and nothing that hasn't been done before, right? And worse off, it costs $90 if you bought the deluxe edition. If you are stupid enough to buy the deluxe edition so you can play it early before everyone else, it costs $90. And if you didn't, it costs $70. Now, meanwhile, you got Palworld, you got Helldivers, the AA games, cost $40. A lot of people love it, play it. They're not reinventing the wheel, mind you. Like they're not video games that are taking concepts that were never done, but at least it's a lot more different than an Assassin's Creed type of video game. The Assassin's Creed type of video game is the type of game that Spider-Man is. You basically have like a third-person video game where you travel around an open world, you climb up a tower, and you get to see the surrounding area, and then you can interact with NPCs, and you have like these little bits of dialogues before you start the mission. Maybe you have like some craftables, some games have it, some games don't, but usually you definitely have some skills, and you have like different tech trees, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you spec, because by the end of the game, you're going to have everything anyway, so this is the cookie cutter game that has been made in almost every single AAA that came out. Every one of them. And by the way, just so you know, like, this isn't coincidental. I remember from the Games Developer Conference, which is woke as fuck, by the way, if you didn't know. And this was like 3 years ago, and they were actually saying, you shouldn't think of games as strategy games. You shouldn't think of games as role-playing games anymore. You shouldn't think of them as first-person shooters. You should think of video games as video games. Like, it needs to have a little bit of everything. And it's like, well, I'm sorry, that doesn't necessarily make a great game. Like, for instance, if you have a dish, you're making a soup, and you're putting carrots, and you're putting onions, and you're putting, like, asparagus, and you're putting, like, literally everything in the soup. You're putting chicken, you're putting pork. That necessarily makes, it doesn't make for a better dish just because you add all the ingredients available. All these companies need to get out of a business, then the industry will get better. I agree. But to be honest, maybe it's time for America to take a seat back. You know, like this would be something that maybe pisses off a lot of Americans. But maybe it's time for the United States to take a step back and let some other countries have the reign. Because, you know, when I grew up, it was France. Like, the French used to have the culture. And if you wanted to see an opera, if you wanted to go to the theater, which was pretty much like what the entertainment was back then, you'd see it in French, right? It was like a French play. And then the Americans invented internet and Hollywood, and they dominated the culture. So maybe it's time for the Americans to take a step back. I mean, we do have Nikkei, we do have South Korea making really good stuff. Japan is making really great stuff. It's not bad if Americans take a step back. I mean, especially with most of the pearl clutching around the world. Like, I'm not kidding. Europe wasn't as pearl clutching as it is since the Americans came along. Like, they're bringing. Here's my take. Like, America is an amazing country, but unfortunately, there is a vocal minority that existed during the Bush era, and it exists now. You know, the pearl clutching motherfuckers. This is due to the fact that America initially was a very. Let me think of how to put this. Not necessarily like persecution, but very religious type of nation, right? But religious in the way of like the Puritans, very puritanical. And that puritanical culture remains up until today. It's like the whole concept of like, do you disavow? Like, this shit doesn't even exist in the European mindset. It's like, do you disavow? Like, what the fuck does that mean? Well, such and such. Like let's say this person who believes that your hospital should be better staffed. Yeah. He said the F word. Not fuck. The other F word. He said the F word on Twitter. Do you disavow? And I'm like, why are you tying the person's assholery with the person's policies? It's like, yes, I want a hospital that's staffed. Okay, this person that you're talking to me about, he's an asshole, but why the fuck do I care? If it takes an asshole to get the hospital staffed, then fine. Right? But like, this is an American mentality. When if the person is an asshole, then everything that he does, whether it's helping orphans, feeding starving kittens, everything needs to be canceled. This is like a purely American thing that's being imported throughout the rest of the world through Hollywood and the internet. I'm sorry to say this, but it is. And I'm telling you this as an outsider, because like most Americans won't know it, because like you live there, right? So like for you guys, it's normal. But for us who live in Europe, it's not fucking normal. It's not normal. It's like this level of pearl clutching. It's like, oh my god, how can you say this? Oh my god, how can you depict this? Oh my god, is that art? Oh no. Like, we don't have this shit here. Yeah, it's from the Anglosphere. I should actually backtrack a little bit. It's not necessarily American. It's the Anglosphere. I just want you to know the difference between Europe and America, right? Like, in America, when a president was getting a blowjob from Monica Lewinsky in the fucking White House, everyone was moral panicking over that, right? Like, everyone was like, oh my god, oh, how... in France, every single president besides Macron had a mistress. I'm not kidding. Like every single president besides Emmanuel Macron in France, in the papers, people knew, like they were aware, yeah, this guy has a mistress. In Romania, the Traian Băsescu president was fucking his mistress in the presidential palace on his desk. And he didn't give a fuck. If reporters asked him, he would shrug. Like, this is the difference of morality, right? Because we genuinely do not care. Like, tell me what his policies are. Oh my god, he's getting a blowjob. Oh, okay, yes. I never heard of something like that. Horrible. Oh, at the workplace. Oh my god, tell me more. What is his policy on economics? Is he making my life better or not? Leave me alone with the blowjob. I don't fucking care. Right? Like this is the difference between European politics and American politics. And unfortunately, a lot of the American bullshit and the Anglosphere bullshit is coming into Europe. Something seriously wrong with that Macron guy. Yeah. He doesn't have a mistress. Kick V. You can build 1,000 bridges in your lifetime, but shit the bed once, and you will be known as a bed shitter. Yeah, that's the thing, right? That's the thing with America. It's like, I remember I used to hear from the evangelicals when I grew up. They would say, if you stole once, you're a thief. If you lied once, you're a liar. And I'm like, okay, but like by that logic, if you have Scrooge McDuck, like the most greedy person ever imaginable, and he donates to charity once, then he's a charitable person, right? If you have Adolf Hitler committing all the crimes that he did, and then he helps a starving orphan, then he's a philanthropist. Because, like, if you're using the logic to one extreme, then it should function when you replace it with the other, right? Hello, V. I hope your day is good, and I understand my disdain for current-day culture, but I love country regardless. Don't forget, the incompetents are in charge. Okay, I want to make it clear, because, like, usually when you make criticisms about the culture, like, people take it personally. I am not talking about today, first and foremost. And secondly, I'm not saying America is a bad place. I'm saying, like, as every country in the world, it's got positives and it's got negatives. Like Romania has its negatives, France has its negatives. Every single country has positives and negatives. This is one of the negative things of American culture. And it's not something which is happening from today. Again, the Bush era had the exact same people. The evangelicals used to be the other extreme. We call them the piety warriors. It's just that they didn't have access to the internet. They didn't have access to social media. They weren't able to control the information as well as the progressives do now. But it was the same shit. Just like now, people are freaking out about the anime because you get to see a titty. Back then, they were freaking out about the anime because in Dragon Ball, you got to see some blood. So it's literally the same moral panic. It's just like they would have different values, but the same thing. Like they would write concerned citizen letters. So if you're a business and let's say you promoted a gay person in a position of power, or if you had a statement that they disagree with, they would start writing concerned citizen letters. And they had organizations. One of the organizations was called A Million Moms. And, you know, having a million moms protesting in front of your business didn't do for good PR. So this is not something new. This is not something that's happening today. Like, people know because, well, first of all, we live in these times, so it's a lot easier for us to notice. And of course, secondly, people know because the internet, right? So, like, it's more prohibited because before the internet, I had no fucking idea what Americans are doing. But if you go and you look back to sensitivity training, you look back into the 90s, like you had the progressives, had their run back then, it usually changes. It's usually like different moral busybodies, but the moral busybodying stays. What I'm saying is in Europe, you had less moral busybodies. Like the concept of a moral busybody almost doesn't exist in Europe, except for the United Kingdom and a little bit in Germany. But outside that, no. We need to counter-protest the moms. Well, yeah, good luck with that. When are the incompetent not in charge? Did Hitler have a mistress? I genuinely don't know. I think he did, didn't he? It's probably less likely that he had a mistress because his entire ideology was based on conservatism, right? So it's unlikely. And if he did, it definitely kept it hidden. I genuinely don't know if Hitler had a mistress or not. Again, my take is probably not. And if he did, it was very hush-hush. Anyway, right. I think we're done here. I think we can go to Grummz. We have enough people in the chat in order to start the conversation. So if you don't know who Grummz is, I mean, at this point, it's almost impossible not to know. But he is an industry legend. He worked at Blizzard when they actually created the most amazing games that went around the world. I mean, his work basically speaks for itself. Who has not heard of Diablo? Who has not heard of World of Warcraft? And he was a higher up when this was happening. And since then, he has been on Twitter, usually tweeting things about video games. And now due to the new controversy rising up, he's basically coming out, joining these live streams. And he is talking about certain things that are happening within AAA. And he has a perspective of being an insider. He's got a perspective of not just working at a AAA company, but being a higher up, being part of the people that made policies and decision making. So I think it's a great idea that we should listen to him. Let me just see if I can make sure that the audio is fine. Let me know if you guys can hear this.
Upset about, oh, hey, we have some diversity in the game. It's actually the way that they go about it with pure tokenism.
Yeah, the thing with diversity in games, I encourage everyone, like seriously, this is my homework for you, okay? Go play old games. And by old, I mean Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, Prince of Persia, Neverwinter Night, like whatever you like. Even Mass Effect, okay? Go play some old games before the diversity committee happened. And if you can manage to go through the bad graphics and some of the outdated game mechanics, you will notice that not only were these games incredibly fun, like much more fun than the games that are coming out today, but they were also very diverse. Like in Dragon Age, you can create whatever type of character you want. You can create a black character, you can create an Asian character. I even think you have breast sliders. Because there was like someone going to say, hey, tell me the game that has breast sliders. I think Dragon Age does. So, like, all of these games used to have diversity. The idea that diversity came with the consultants, and without the consultants, people just don't know how to create characters of different races is completely false.
With phoning in weak characters instead of creating strong new characters. And more importantly, it's about a vindictiveness to destroy the past, to destroy the IP, to ignore the source material, and to tear apart these beloved characters in some sort of fitful rage that we don't understand and is very disingenuous.
This was like the best explanation ever. They used to write articles about gamer rage, right? Like white gamer rage. And when you look at what they are doing, and you have them on fucking camera, there was a compilation, which I didn't save, but it had like over 20 writers that took IPs and did either sequels, prequels, or reimagining. And they were like, I hate this IP. When I was a kid, I really hated Thundercats. I didn't like Marvel Comics. I hated them. This is the worst again. Oh, and it begs the question as to why. Like if you have $1 million IP, why would you put surely you have tens of thousands of people applying. Surely you have if you have an IP like a Marvel movie like Thor or whatever, you must have like thousands of people that would beg for the position to write for it. Why would you put the person that hates the IP? And the only reason you would do that is if you do it on purpose. Statistically speaking, it is impossible for all of these people that hate the IP to get placed in chat. And when you have someone that actually likes the IP, when you have a Henry Cavill, they don't know how to get rid of him. They despise him. They try to make all these accusations and, oh, he's filled with toxic masculinity. He was arguing with the feminist writers. And it's like, well, yeah, because the feminist writers were pissing on the IP. And he was like, can you not piss over here? Piss over there, please. Just not over here, because we're trying to make money. Is that okay with you? Like, I want to make money. You're going to make money. We're all going to make money. And they didn't want to make money. They're like, no, we just flat out refuse to make money. We hate making money. And the moment that Henry Cavill left The Witcher, you get to see the IP crashing. And I gotta say, I didn't like The Witcher even with Henry Cavill. It was too fucking woke. Too woke for me. I'm sorry, I don't like it. It's like, not with my cash. You wanna be woke? Do it with Larry Fink's money, not with mine. I like my money. I promote diversity. I buy games from the Japanese. Anyway.
And I think that is the tremendous reaction to Suicide Squad. And this is going to have an immense financial impact. The way games are funded, you don't use your own money. Even EA, okay? Games are hugely expensive to make. They're upwards of, $250, sometimes $600 million.
So I actually spoke with someone that crunches the numbers and does audits for various companies. And I asked him, it's like, because I was like legitimately curious. It's like, what is the most expensive thing at these video games which costs hundreds of $billions to make? Like what exactly? Where does this money go? Like, do they hire more developers? Do they because it doesn't make sense, right? Now that I'm into game development myself, I understand certain things, and it's like, well, how many developers do you need? Like, you can make a AAA game with 20, maybe 30 developers. So, like, do they ask for more cash? Like, what's happening? And he told me that around 50% goes for HR and consultants. I'm not kidding. Like, the price for HR and consultants has increased dramatically. Now you would wonder, why is that? Why are HR so expensive? And the reason for it is that California forces you to have an HR. Like, if you're a company in California that has more than, I think it's like 100 employees, you're forced by law to have an HR. And you can't just hire anyone and say you're HR. No, it needs to be someone that can show qualification. So because of this artificial demand, the HR people say, well, they're going to be forced to hire us, so we can ask for how much we want. What are they going to do? Are they going to fire us? I mean, they can, but the next guy, they still need an HR. So like if we increase the price, if we artificially raise the price, we're going to make a lot of money. And this is where the grift happens. This is why you have all these grifters that pop up of nowhere. And the HR, they can literally take control of a company, because imagine the following, right? Like you're the CEO of the company, you know, if it's like a big company like the size of Microsoft and Facebook, you can make like top decisions, but that by the time your decision trickles down, it takes time to implement, right? Meanwhile, if you're the HR, you're the person that decides who you hire, who you promote, and who you fire. And if you do it based on ideology, like imagine this, okay? Imagine that in Facebook, you would have like a hardcore Christian HR, okay? Like Andrew Torba type of individuals. And they're the ones that do the hiring and the firing and everything else. Now, even if you're not telling them to hire based on Christian merit, do you not think that the Andrew Torba is going to look on your social media, is going to be, well, I got 100 candidates, but like this guy blasphemed. I don't like the fact that this guy, yeah, he likes this particular type of rock. No. Oh, this guy likes porn. Definitely not going to consider him. If they do this constantly, it will change the company. It doesn't matter what CEO you have. It doesn't matter like what leadership and what board you have. If they're going to promote people based on ideology, it will change the company. And then when you're the CEO and you're having like some policy meeting, they're going to walk out. They're going to go on strike. They're going to protest. They're going to unionize. This is what's happening at these companies. This is why like they are so woke that they can't turn back now. Look what happened to Netflix. Perfect example. You have Netflix having Dave Chappelle. Immensely popular. Like they're making money. They're printing money with Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle is like Joe Biden causing inflation at Netflix company. Everyone is getting rich. You have a transgender person that is so fucking livid. They walk into a meeting while the director was in a meeting. They burst into the room and they're outraged. It's like, how dare you, blah, 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 Dave Chappelle, blah, blah. Any other person would get fired. Why didn't that person get fired? Well, it's because like if you fire a trans person, first of all, it's a discrimination lawsuit, and secondly, they're well connected. They did walkouts and stuff. It was hilarious. You have like these 20 chuckle fucks with all their billboards running around because Dave Chappelle had the audacity of having a show. But I'll tell you what, all these individuals, all of these people that were doing the walkout, they were higher ups. They weren't just nobody. Like, they can literally freeze the company. So this is why it's so difficult for all of these companies to just change course now. They're stuck in the wokeness. They can't. It's very difficult to uproot now. HR is just government corruption. That is the reason why you can't get rid of the position. In California, it is. In other places, not so much. But in California, 100% it is. Hello, Aristocratic Cthulhu. Welcome to the show. Some companies have noticed how to get around this and how to mitigate it. Like, HR is still expensive as fuck. However, one of the ways that you can mitigate it is to have freelance HR, right? So like you have like these freelance companies that you subcontract, so you don't have your HR in-house. You're just freelancing, like these mercenary HRs that are coming there, and they stay there for like 2 months, they do their contract and they fuck off, and then you get new ones. And this is a way that you can make sure that you don't have the empire building HR. You know, the HR that goes, oh, this is not your company, it's actually my company, and I'm going to hire who I want in positions of power, and then these people are going to owe me favors, and then we're going to, you know, have a hashtag #MeToo accusation against the higher-ups, and we're going to install our guy, and then we're going to produce wokeness like we learned in gender studies. So in order to avoid that, if you have freelance HR is one way. My publisher managed to be lucky enough to have a sister which finished gender studies, placed her, and she doesn't do anything. He doesn't even let her do anything. It's like, bitch, shut the fuck up. You take your paycheck. That's all you do, right? You're getting paid good? Are you feeling good? Are you paid well? Then shut the fuck up. You don't like the pay? I can all replace you. You don't like the payment? I can replace you. So like that's another way. Like if you actually know a person that's into HR and you're like, look, I don't really need an HR, but I'll give you money so that it looks as if. You don't even have to come to work. You don't even have to show up. All right? You can find another job as well. I don't mind. But on paper, you're working here, and I don't want to hear any policy change. No. So this is like one way to do it. There are companies that are understanding the situation because they're looking around, right? Like it's not 2016 anymore when everything is hypothetical and they're like, oh, if you do like us, you're going to be. No, like companies are looking around and they're seeing what's happening. They're seeing the disaster. And they're like, I don't want this shit in my place. I don't want this shit in my house. So they're already trying to adjust, trying to figure out. It's like, okay, well, this is the law. We can't break the law. We have to follow the law. But like, can we move around it? Can we figure out ways to bypass it in order so that it doesn't affect us as bad? And then you have other companies that just flat out move to Texas. I mean, moving to Texas seems to be a problem for Texans. But a lot of companies are moving away from California. I will say this, though. If you look at the history of Detroit, you will see that the first thing that happened, which went to shit, was companies leaving. Detroit used to be a lot of people don't know. If you're not American, okay, if you're European, you probably don't know. I mean, maybe you heard about Detroit. But the thing of Detroit is like, let me show you. Hold on. So you look at Detroit. See if I can find some homes in Detroit so I can show you something really interesting. All right. So when you look at Detroit, you get to see entire places like this. I think there's a Hollywood movie which came out and it kind of gives you an idea of how Detroit is. It has like a couple of teenagers that tried to rob a blind man. I forgot the name of it, but it looks kind of like this, right? And you're looking at it and it's like, man, these houses were pretty fucking sweet. I mean, holy shit, as an European, I would love to live in one of these houses when they used to look good, right? Not now. But when they were built. Like when they were initially built, you're looking at it and it's like, whoa, these houses were probably very expensive. This used to be an incredibly nice place to live. I mean, no, seriously, imagine that this is renovated. Imagine that this was brand new. Wouldn't you want to live in a neighborhood like this? So it means that the people that had money at some point, like at some point, these people were very rich, very wealthy. They lived in a very nice place. So how did it get like this? And the answer is that because of Democrat policies, eventually the companies left. And I want you to imagine this, right? If you get born in a place where there are no jobs, like in a 50-mile radius, you can't find work, right? Like even if you want to, you can't. There are certain cities like that in the United States. Like for example, there are cities that were built around the coal mine, and then Obama shut down the coal mine. So again, like imagine that you're born in that place and you have absolutely no job. That there's nothing you can apply to. There's no buses that are coming there. The crime rate is through the roof because, well, obviously, you know, the only thing that people do is drugs. And that's their living. Like, even if they want to work, like, what are you going to do? There's nothing, right? So, this is how it goes like that. Like, the first thing that happens is the businesses move out. Like, the businesses shut down. Once the businesses shut down, you get this. And I genuinely think that's what's going to happen in California if things don't change. If it keeps staying, if it maintains course for another 5 years, with the policies that they're having, where you can't really stop someone from shoplifting, where criminals they get bailed out. I mean, imagine how demoralizing it must be for police officers. Holy fucking shit. So like you see a dangerous guy on the streets, right? And he is violent. So you as a police officer, you gotta risk your own safety in order to stop him, because that's your job. So you manage to take him down, you arrest him, and he gets bailed with no bond, and the next day he's back on the streets. How demoralizing must that be? Like, if you're a police officer, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? You're like Batman, taking down the Joker every single time, and the Joker escapes. No wonder these comic books are like this, because they inspire from reality. These used to happen back in the day. A couple of decades ago, this used to happen. And it was the exact same talking points, the exact same bullshit. Oh my god, think of the criminal, he's a victim of society, so we must make society the victim. Oh, these cops, oh my god, these cops, they're so brutal, they're so harsh. They need sensitivity training. We need sensitivity training councils. We need to teach police officers in order to be more sensitive to criminals, because criminals, they're just victims to society. And Joe Biden had a very interesting speech in the Senate talking about criminals. And he's like, he doesn't care if the criminal is a victim of society. In that moment, he has a bat to his head, and it's like, there's no tolerance, there's no mercy. Like, he cares about himself and his family. Seriously, like, the Democrats used to be far more racist than Trump back in the day. If you listen to some of their speeches, it's very interesting. California must fall. You know, you say that, but it's going to have economic repercussions towards the rest of the United States. Yeah, RoboCop 2 is a perfect example. There's like Cow and Chicken, I think. There is an episode in Cow and Chicken where Super Cow has to go and get sensitivity training from the devil. Like, Cartoon Network used to actually prep kids against this bullshit. Like, they would have all these cartoons that would mock and ridicule political correctness in order to, like, help kids understand when they see political correctness. Oh, it's like that funny cartoon with Cow and Chicken. Wait a minute. Like, the devil was the one that was pushing sensitivity training. The Powerpuff Girls used to have the same. They used to have an episode where Mojo Jojo found a couple of activists that were defending him every single time he was committing crime. So the Powerpuff Girls couldn't actually tackle Mojo because he was being defended by the activist. And then you had like another episode in Powerpuff Girls where the villain was a feminist, and she basically told the girls, it's like, well, I'm the only female villain in town, so you need to leave me go because otherwise there's sexism and blah, blah, blah. I'm not kidding, when I was a kid, Cartoon Network constantly had anti-social justice cartoons. Non-stop. It's funny all the anti-social justice activists in these spaces will complain about woke shit without defining what woke is. You don't need to define it. People just know. You know, it's kind of like, can you define what racism is? People know. Define what far right is. People know. No, you don't need any more definitions. It's like, define what it is. This whole deconstruction thing, it's like, but can you define? Can you analyze? Can you tell me what? No, I can't. If you don't know, you're not part of the conversation. It's fine. I mean, seriously, you know, like the left sexism. What is sexism? Can you define it? What is a woman? Can you define it? No, they can't. Why do I have to define it? By the way, I can define it if you want. Donald Trump defined woke to a T. China also defined woke to a T. Look, like if you want to look at China, best way you can define something is to look at the outside. Right? So, China calls woke bai cua. So, bai cua is a Chinese epithet meaning a naive, Western, educated person. See, you gotta be educated. You can't just be a bigot in order to be woke. You need to be educated. Who advocates for peace, equality, only to satisfy their own feelings of moral superiority. A Baitsua only cares about topics such as immigration, minorities, LGBT, and the environment, while being obsessed with political correctness to the extent that they import backwards Islamic values for the sake of multiculturalism. The Chinese see the Baitsua as an ignorant and arrogant Westerner who pity the rest of the world and think that they are the saviors. Trump had a better definition. The definition that Trump gave is it needs to fit 2 points in order to be woke. The first point is that it needs to believe that America is evil. So basically, a country that, an ideology that thinks that America is systemically racist, right? Like an unpatriotic ideology. But that is not enough to be woke. Like that is just 0.1. It's like 0.5%, right? The other part is that it classifies human beings based on arbitrary categories and then creates a pyramid where it basically says you are part of this ethnicity and therefore you are part of this identity and therefore, right? So it's a racist ideology that classifies human beings. It stereotypes them based on the way they are born. And it also believes that the nation state is evil. So if you have an ideology that fits both of these definitions, that's fucking woke. In other words, I'm Romanian, right? Romania never had slaves. I'm sorry, we never did. We never colonized anyone. But if I travel to the United States, a woke person is going to eyeball me, is going to say, you're white and it ain't right. You owe reparations. Alternatively, you can have like someone from Africa that was never enslaved. And he was in Africa all the time. You know, maybe someone from Botswana can be very wealthy, rich individual. He travels to America and the woke, oh my God, you're so oppressed, aren't you? Oh my God, you're a victim of society. So that is what woke is. But if you want, I can just say Democrat. You know, you see like a couple of people looting a store and you're like, why are Democrats doing this? I mean, it can both work. It's fine. You know, we can adapt. I grew up in what is called the black belt. Google it. I know what the black belt is. Just because I'm Romanian doesn't mean that I don't know what the black belt is. I know about the rust belt as well. There's many belts. And there's also the belt that my mama used to get. That region is just as you described. When I was born, there were no jobs except a lumber mill. The county seat looks like a third world country. I am shocked that the school is open. Yeah, it's very sad when you hear these types of stories. But, you know, I'm just happy that I didn't grow in those places. It is what it is. Let's listen to Grummz, what else he has to say.
For certain live games, it's incredibly how expensive they are. And to do that, your CFO is your best friend. You're counting on your CFO to get you tax breaks, to get you in, to put studios in regions which are financially favorable, and you will borrow the cheap money. You will get a cheap money to do it. Even EA does this. I worked with EA. We were putting together a deal where they were taking bailout money from the banks in the last financial crisis that we had, and they were applying that cheap money towards games. Same thing with COVID money. They're applying that cheap money towards games. And what has been the cheapest money while interest rates were still low, you know, a couple of years ago? It was ESG financing.
Right. So, like, when you take one of these loans, it comes with strings attached. And you need to get consultants. Like, the best way to prove to the bankers that you are... Because here's the thing. Like, if you're a company, you want a loan, right? And you already have your business plan. Like, you already have your deadlines. You already have your employees. And you need to pay them on a regular basis. So you can't just have to apply for the loan and then be denied and then reapply again. You don't want that. So what you do is you take a consultancy group that has a track record of making the changes at the company in order for you to get the loan. Now normally loans from banks, they do not care about the ideology of the company. Like, they don't give a fuck. All they care about is, can we get our money back? Like, this is the normal way that things used to run before 2016. It was like, all right, well, we're going to lend you money. What do you want to do with money? We want to write a book. And they would be like, okay, so is it profitable? Like, right? Like, that's what they would do. Like, have you wrote any other books in the past? Is there any major publisher that can vouch for you? Did you win any awards? Right? Like that is what they would take into consideration. They wouldn't care what the book is about. If you were writing a book about a girl getting fucked by dogs, like R.R. Martin in Game of Thrones, I know, shocker, many people don't read the books, but that it's in there. Girl is underage as well. Twitter hasn't found out about it, I guess. Yeah, Ramsey Snow does that. It's in the last book. They don't care about that shit. They're just like, what the fuck we care? You're a famous actor. You're George R.R. Martin. You published like this, and you made so many. You're responsible for the TV show, and you have merchandise everywhere. Of course, you get the loan, right? But ESG doesn't think like that. ESG goes like, all right, well, are you environmentalist friendly? And you're like, well, I'm a gaming company. Of course, I'm not. Like, as a gaming company, people use high-tech rigs. Like, when they turn their PC on, it's like a fucking coal mine over there. I mean, if you want to put in NVIDIA 490 Ti, like, that motherfucker consumes enough power to have, like, an entire power station just go blackout. It's like, no, we're not environmentalist friendly. But, oh, we can't talk about the environment on Twitter. Oh, we can say yes, horrible pollution. I hope all these people, they vote for AOC in order to have the Green New Deal. Oh, Greta Thunberg, oh yeah, we can put that in our game. Right? So, like, it's performative, is the fucking virtue signal. You're a gaming company, of course you're not environmental friendly. What the fuck? Your CEO drives a 4x4. What the fuck are you talking about? You guys fly private jets to get wine and dine, to get journalists wine and dine. Like, anyway, right, so that is the social issue. It's like, oh, well, what do people care about? Oh, the LGBT issues. Fun fact, by the way, do you know why they care about the LGBT issues so much? If you Google it, there is a study which highlights that employees are less likely to ask for raise and promotions if the company distracts them with activism. So, like, if you take your employees and you're like, okay, let's do activism for something, and you channel their energy in order to accomplish the activism, they don't care about the other things, right? Like, because they feel as if they're already progressing. Most people, like want to feel as if they're climbing a ladder, right? Like most people want to have that energy that you're doing something, you're improving yourself. So like, one of the ways that people channel that energy is when they go to work and it's like, okay, well, I got a raise, right? So you feel great about yourself. You go home, you celebrate, you know, you like, call everyone, you call your friends, you go drinking, hey, I got a raise. But another way that they can channel that energy is through activism. Oh, you champion such and such cause, and look how much money we raised, and congratulations, we did it. And then they go home and it's like, well, I did it, you know, I did activism. So companies realize, okay, if you get people to do activism rather than to leave them alone, they will be less likely to focus on getting raises and more likely to invest all their energy for the activism. And it's like, what activism can you do that's not controversial? What activism can you do that doesn't piss people off, right? Like, are you going to block a highway and champion environmentalist issues? No. That pisses people off, right? No one wants to do it. Are you going to do environmentalists for the Republicans? No, that pisses people off. Oh, LGBT issues. Oh, that's safe. That's safe. No one is against that. I mean, it's America, right? You're not doing it in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, perfect example. So this is why so many companies are supporting this. It's not just the ESG. It's all the studies that are showing that when you push for these things, it's a lot easier to control the employees. Another example is the diversity. This is what Amazon was exposed when they had some of their messages leaked. It was from Whole Foods. Yeah. It is from Whole Foods. Let me see if I can find the article. Amazon, Whole Foods, diversity, right? So, this has been reported in The Verge, right? And Amazon has what they like to call a heat map in order to show which of their stores are at risk of unionizing. And if you read this article, it says that there are many things which can lead to the employees unionizing, but one of the contributing factors is diversity, right? So diversity makes it less likely for unions to happen. And that's a little bit confusing. It's like, what do you mean? Like, why would diversity? There is a difference between what the corporations mean by diversity and what average Joes understand by diversity. Like, average Joe understands diversity. Okay, so you're hiring, people of various races. It's like, okay. I mean, that's not something new. That's not something that's being done. It's like, why would that be a problem? What corporations understand by diversity is you're going to have all these lectures and seminars and consultancy groups. And what ends up happening is that John and Juan, they work perfectly well together. They have no beef with each other. But when you have the HR lady telling Juan, hey, Juan, don't you think you're being oppressed? Not by your boss, by the way. No, not by the leadership. No, we're not oppressing you. Your colleague is oppressing you. Society is oppressing you. Your colleague is a piece of shit. He's got white privilege. He's the problem, not us, right? So now you have the employees less likely to work with each other. They feel aggrieved. They feel grievances that weren't even there before the consultants put it in their fucking head. All these microaggressions, right? Like if you're John, you're told, well, John, you like your job, right? You need to be very careful. You need to be very careful, John, because, what you say, all these microaggressions, all these things, right? Juan is a little bit difficult. If you say the wrong words, you may end up him writing a letter to the HR and you can get fired. And they're making the employees less likely to trust one another. This is something that they do in prisons as well, especially in the Californian prisons. Like, notice how no one is trying to tackle racism in prisons? There's not even a conversation about that. And there is not a single place more racist in the United States than the prisons. But like, none of these policies that they have for the outside world, like microaggressions, stone policing, they don't apply them in prisons because they want the inmates to be at each other. Because if you think about it, there's like 10% of the guards versus 90% of the inmates. So the only way for the guards to control the inmates is if the inmates hate each other. You look at a prison riot, every single one of them, no exception, the prisoners are at each other's throats. Like, when there's a riot, it's not the prisoners versus the guards, it's the prisoners versus the prisoners. Be nice if we enforced our laws against anti-union actions against Amazon who are doing that crap. Well, there's no political will to do it. What politician would even care? Republicans don't care. Democrats don't care. Why would you want to crack down on Amazon? Like, what do you gain? Where is the political benefit? LGBT activism pisses people off. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing that happened last year, I'm genuinely curious to see what's going to happen this July. But last year, during Pride Month, many companies just didn't even put the rainbow flag on their Twitter. I mean, they did it all the fucking years. And last year, they did it. I wonder why. Apparently, Miss Kiana is against anti-social justice warriors and right-wingers in general, since they are against my existence because I am on different beliefs. Kiana, who's against your existence? Who in the chat is against Kiana's existence? Speak now. I have beef with you. Kiana, who bullies you? Point me with your finger towards the person in the chat that is against your existence. Chat. Kiana, look here. Kiana said in the chat, she was talking to Mitsu. And she was saying, I'm fine with that. However, I'm also against anti-social justice. She's talking about me. And right-wingers, also me. By the way, are there leftist anti-social justice warriors? Like, why do you have to name them twice? In general, since they are against my existence because of what I am on different beliefs. Huh? What do you guys... Stop bullying Kiana. I do not want you to bully Kiana. Who? Kiana, look, I will show you. Hold on. Like, you guys think I'm making it up or something. Look. I see it with the corner of my eye. I do watch the chat. People think I don't, but I do. Look here. I feel a kinship with Kiana because they have an anime avatar. If you have an anime avatar, you're within my community. I don't care, right winger, you got an anime avatar, a girl with white hair, you're part of my, I will defend you. No bully anime girls. Just like Reigning Terror also has an anime avatar. See? It's like this kinship, this connection. We were born differently, from different backgrounds, with different mothers, different ideologies, but the anime lolly unites us. It's a lolly? I don't know. Hold on, let me check. I need to click. I can't fucking see. Chat, I can't see the profile, but it looks like it. To be honest, all anime girls look the same. Is that racist if you say it? But then ironically, like when you have an anime girl in a little thumbnail, and you can barely see it, you need to squint your eyes to see it, they look the same. Because they're cheap to manufacture. That's why the anime girl, chat, is a fucking product. Many people don't understand, but it's a product. It is a design meant to sell. It's meant to make money. People look at the anime girl and they humanize it because they're imbecile. They're morons. It is not a human being. It is a product. It is a product made by a company or an artiste with the sole purpose of making cash. That is what the anime girl is. We need to go back to the days where political will was dropped up with angry mobs. No. Kiana says it's not a lolly. I will take their word for it. Again, I can't see the fucking avatar. I have my glasses on. I'm squinting my eyes at the monitor. The picture is too small. It's too tiny. I assume, you know what? I'm going to give Kiana a moderator. Hold on. Guys, now you can see it. Now you can see it. There you go. Kiana, if you ban a single person, I will take away your moderator status. There we go. See? Now you can see who Kiana is. Right? What is the picture of? Chat. Homework. Tell me. I can't see. Is she a V-tweeter? Is Kiana a V-tweeter? Kiana, if you're a V-tweeter, I will take away your wrench. I think Kiana is a V-tweeter. Chat. Is she like a person on Twitter complaining about Gargura? Huh? I think it's like, oh my god, Gargura, the new Hololive. Oh, she's but a child. Oh, she looks like a schoolgirl. How dare they Hololive the monsters? Huh? We need to cancel Gargura. I don't know. I will find out. Does it use Twitter? Okay, not a V-tweeter. There we go. All right. See? I smell these people. I smell my community. I smell my community through the fucking internet. I knew that she's a trustable person, which is why she got the wrench. She's not a V-tweeter. That was like the only concern. See, you looked at me, you thought, oh, right-winger, you're against my existence. It's because I'm trans. It's because I'm... No. If you were a V-tweeter, that would have upset me. But you're not a V-tweeter, so therefore I have nothing against you. I'm also an anime character. Oh, you also get a wrench then. All the anime characters get a wrench today. Fucking based. By the way, you notice this? Like, everyone is defending Western entertainment, and everyone is like, oh, sweet baby Jesus. Sweet baby Jesus, we love you, sweet baby. Sweet baby, you're making our entertainment great. Where are all the avatars of fucking Abby? Where are the avatars of Mary Jane? Where are the people with the avatar of Western animation, huh? Huh? Where are they? Chat, where are the fucking avatars of Western products? I want to see Captain Marvel. Where's the X-Men? When I grew up, chat, there were avatars of Superman and Batman. I'm not kidding. Now they aren't, because no one reads them. No one cares. They're irrelevant. I used to be with you before I started transitioning. I used to watch your stream since before 2016. Fucking based. Should have kept watching. It doesn't matter if you gave me money in the past. I don't see the anime avatar. Anyway. anime Jesus-sama. Oh, God. I think that the anime is going to get co-opted as well. I think that anime has like 3, maybe 4 years before it's going to go to shit. Like with all these localizers and stuff. Chat, by the way, I found what a localizer is. See, now that I'm translating my video game, I finally found out what a localizer is. Now, if you were to ask me last year, it's like, hey V, say something nice about the localizers. I would have said, at least they can speak Japanese, right? At least they can speak Japanese. I mean, that's a difficult skill that takes time to master. They don't speak Japanese, chat. Listen, the localizer doesn't speak Japanese. In my brain, I thought that translator is the same person that translates and does the localization. No. No. So I will tell you what the localizer is and what they do. You usually have a Chad Japanese man that does the translation. So let's assume that as we're talking about Romanian, right? Like if I were to translate this morning, at breakfast, I had roasted bread. Americans will laugh. They'll be like, what the fuck? Roasted bread? What is that? Right? So then the localizer comes and they localize it and they will say, at breakfast, I had toast. They're mansplaining. Yes, that's what a localizer does. They're mansplaining. But no, like seriously, right? So you have like the Japanese translator and they translate and they do their best. But then the localizer comes and they have the English text. Like they have the text that's translated. They don't know Japanese. And they look at the text and whenever they see an expression that doesn't make sense, they try to, you know, put a little bit of Rick and Morty in it, right? And instead of going ara ara, they go whoop the ship the whoop Morty, ha ha ha, you know? That's what the localizer fucking does, chat. They don't even fucking speak Japanese. So when you have Vegeta, or no, you have Frieza calling Goku, you Saiyan monkey, the localizer goes, you Chad MAGA supporter incel, you know, like that's what the localizer does. They do not know Japanese. They do not translate, Kiara. This is what I'm saying. A Japanese person translates for them. They just get the text, right, in English, and you know, like, usually, the Japanese person, like, they don't speak English. They speak English second language, right? So, like, when you translate, like, if I was to translate into English, I will do a decent enough job that everyone knows what I'm talking about. But, like, I do not use the slang. I do not use the colloquialisms. Because I'm not an English person, I use it as a second language. Most people will recognize it's like, well, this text is a little bit hard to read. It doesn't flow well. Right? So that's when you have a localizer. I actually do have that for my game. I have a writer that's an English major, Zephyr. Zephyr looks at my text and it's like, okay, well, maybe you can say this, or maybe you can put it this way, right? Like, this character is a teenager. She would speak like this. That's what a localizer does. They don't speak Japanese. Get rid of all localizers that are needed. Well, the thing is, most Japanese companies don't know. Again, I like to talk about my game. It's almost like I'm subtly hinting people. I'm translating it into Japanese. I'm doing the reverse, right? I don't know what my translator does. I genuinely like he's showing me the runes. I assume the game is translated, but I do see the runes. I do see, look, this guy's got the runes, right? Let me show you the runes, right? So I see this shit. I know what that shit is. I assume he did translation, right? Like I assume he did a good job. But he can write sucker fucking pork motherfucker. I can't tell. He can write something racist in there. He can put the N-word. I wouldn't know. Right? So how would I know? I mean, if I was actually a major publishing company and my game gets translated into Japan and I see all the rune people coming at me angry and they can't express what they're saying, like, do I know that the translator fucked up? No. So what ends up happening now is because of AI, people are able to translate it, right? So the language barrier goes away, and people are able to tell to the publishers in Japan, hey, by the way, these assholes are ruining your translations. And we have like the Final Fantasy, I think it wasn't the publisher, but it was like a higher up person. And they were like, yeah, you know, this is a little bit fucked up. We're going to look into it. The grift is coming to an end. The gravy train is stopping. We are making a push. Both with the Western gaming and with this shit. How to say the N-word in runes. Fun fact. There were some Japanese people playing Overwatch. And the word for run away in Japan is nigero. It's a different accent. And it also has a ro, like Romania. It's like Nigero. And they said that in Overwatch, they got banned. There's also another issue with many VTubers also getting banned because of their accent. To be fair, I actually got demonetized in many videos because of slurs. And I'm like, I don't use slurs, what the fuck? And then I use the subtitles on the video. And I noticed that, right, when I say I can't, like I cannot, right? So I would say I can't. I would say I can't. And the AI, I mean, Google used to have AI before OpenAI, and it used to take your speech and put it into text. They thought that I was saying the C word slur. And they were demonetizing me for it. And now I understand what racist AI means. It's because I'm Romanian. Do you have brown girl diversity in your game? Is this a request? Do you want this? I can put it in. I mean, it's fine. I can have a sakubasu that's brown. That's fine. I hate English as a language in general after I started to be able to read and speak other languages. English is annoying. No, fuck, no. Learn Hungarian. I mean, that's a difficult language. It's one of the most difficult in the world, but I would say Chinese is difficult. I mean, in China, you have in Mandarin, right? You have literally the same word, but based on the accent, based on how you use it, it can mean different things. Sometimes the same word can mean something very offensive, or it can mean something that's not offensive. And you, as a foreigner who doesn't know the language, you're going to make an ass of yourself. And all the Chinese around you are going to go, hey, 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 hey. And you're going to be like, why? Why are you so cruel? What have I done to deserve this? Yeah. So no, English is not, I will say this, English as difficulty level, I would say medium. It is annoying, like you have a lot of exceptions. A lot of things that, like, and the fact that words don't sound the same way that they are written. You know, you have like silent H's and all that shit. But compared to other languages, English is fine. It's not that difficult. You can learn it in 1 or 2 years. But like to learn Japanese, you gotta learn. Okay, so from my knowledge, they have like 3 types of alphabets, and I actually figured out why. So they have like the alphabet that their religious class used to use, right? So like they're monks and right, like they used to have like their own runes. And then you have like the other runes for the commoners. And for a while, women weren't allowed to use that. So like women created their own version. So that's why you have 3 things. It's like, holy fuck, dude. And you gotta learn all of them? No, they only use 1. If they only use 1, why do we have 3? Tradition. Okay. English words are like the word smurf. You can use English words as a placeholder to mean anything. No, I disagree. And again, I'm also a person that's multilingual. We have to agree to disagree on that. But the thing is, like, how the fuck do Asian people even get to see the thing? Like right. So let me give you an example. At least with the Japanese, their runes are quite visible. But when you go to like Chinese, and they have like certain letters that are so close to one another that when you're like on Discord, all right, like hold on, right? So you're on Discord, right? And the text is small, like especially if you're using it on your phone or something, and you see this, like motherfucker, this right here. It looks 100% like the one on top. Like, how do you even differentiate? Like, I get it, like this one. Yeah, like this one, I can see what it is. But when you look at this, and, well, oh, holy fuck. Holy fuck! You look at this and this, they look the fucking same. You gotta squint your eyes, and I think like they can tell from context. There's no way they actually look at every single thing. This is why East Asian wear glasses. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, dude, it must be hell. The thing is, like, Japanese is actually easy to read. Like I can differentiate the symbols. That's fine. But like Chinese, like, why do they make it so complicated? The kanji gets complicated. No, this is the Chinese. Well, I don't even know what the Chinese call it. I don't think they call it kanji. Oh my god, how the fuck do you write this? Like, is every single Chinese person an artist? I'm not taking the piss, by the way. I'm genuinely curious. Like, imagine writing this. How do you do it? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, okay, so you got, like, this trapeze. So you put the trapeze to the left, and you have to make it small, right? So, like, if you have, like, one of those ink pens that used to spill, you are fucked, weren't you? And then you have like this, which looks like an eye, looks like, and then you have like two things, and then another one, and it connects to the, holy shit. Look at this! Look at it! No, seriously, I need to get a friend from China to explain me how the fuck do they do it. How do they do this shit? I'm genuinely impressed. I'm not taking the piss. No, I'm not, seriously, like, I'm not making fun. This is impressive stuff. Like, you got, like, this one is fine, right? Like, this one is like an X, and you have like a bar on top, and it's like two slashes. Like, this one is fine. But what the fuck is this? And it's nah. Like, why can't you just write nah? Look how easy it is to write it. They must have had, no, seriously, like, when you go back in time, you know, they were called the Middle Kingdom, and they were very prosperous. And I think this is why. You had a lot of time on your hand. You had a lot of free time. And when you have free time, you get artistic. And you start doing this. Meanwhile, this is from the Romans, right? The Roman Empire, they didn't have free times. They had wars to do. They had people to conquer. Like, they needed to write fast. They needed to send the message right away. So this is what they did. God. How are you with Korean? Well, I can just differentiate. Like, if you show me text, I can tell you if it's Japanese, Chinese, or Korean, but, like, no more than that. Malamig the sequel. See, I think that's Japanese. I think that's Japanese, yeah. I would like to talk to the Japanese genius scribes who decided to make symbols for syllables instead of sounds. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, why would you make symbols for syllables? Why can't you just make for sounds like literally everyone else on the planet? There's thousands of symbols, Jesus. I wonder, like, if you learn Japanese, if it's easy to transition to Korean, or if you know Korean, is it easy to transition to Chinese? I'm genuinely curious. Like, if it's difficult for one person to learn the other. Because art? Dude, like, no, seriously, how do you get, like, a 3-year-old to learn how to draw those symbols? Is beyond me. Because, like, when you're in school, it's like, okay, draw the letter A. It's like 1 line, 2 line, 3 lines. There you go. That's the letter A, right? Or you do like a circle and then you add a little squiggly thingy, and there you go. But like when you look at the symbols, it's like, God. Yeah, maybe this is why they're smart. Unironically, like, maybe this is why they're smart. Like, imagine being a kid and having to learn all those symbols. Holy shit. Easy to learn Japanese if you know Korean. Chinese is harder because it's tonal. Ah, yeah. The other thing that's hard is the clicky languages, right? Like, these are considered to be some of the first languages that humanity evolved to speak. It's like, those are, You know, like the one with clicking. I actually saw that there is a channel on YouTube that teaches you how to speak clicky languages. My God, they're difficult. It's like you I guess it kind of makes sense, right? Like people came up with whatever was needed to communicate, and then they like had to simplify it in order to be easier to use. But like the clicky languages, they're very complex, surprisingly complex. The really difficult languages are the formal languages. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's called Ugandan. I think like most African. The thing is like you'll learn that most African countries, due to apartheid, which is basically like apartheid means that the British or some other colonial nation came over there and said, all right, well, this is the territory that's ours. All of you people are one nation now. And like this just doesn't work, right? Like human beings don't work like that. You will have problems if you make it like that. So now you have like all these people stuck within artificial borders, and they're usually like 10, 11, 12 different tribes with different cultures, with different traditions, with different beliefs, with different ideologies. And you look at most African nations, they have like 12, 14 official languages. So you don't really have Ugandan, right? Like you may have, if you go on Wikipedia, you will see that there's like 10 or 11 tribes. And the thing is, like, they usually all speak English. Like they don't. Oh, some even speak French, but like they most of them like speak two languages. They speak the language of their tribe. So like for instance Zulu, right? So they speak that, and then they speak English. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like you say they speak English in Uganda. Yeah, like they understand the language, but like in their homes, in their houses, they speak a language that they belong to a tribe. So like hold on, Uganda official language. Swahili apparently it's called. And let's see what languages they have. Like obviously English is one of them. In most Africa, almost everyone speaks English because it's the official language. Like you gotta make a compromise. Like if you're going to have 12, 13 different languages, you need to have like one that everyone speaks in order for people to communicate. So let's see. In the case of Uganda, the official ones is English and Swahili. The national one is Luganda. And then you have Southern Luo, Lugabra, Runyaokole, Lusogoa, and Ateso. And you also have minorities that speak Banto, Nilo-Saharan, Nubi. So basically, the official is English and Swahili. So like if you wanna write a document like a petition to City Hall, if you I don't know, like want a passport or something, it's going to be in these two languages. But the reality is that if you're in a village in the border, you're probably going to speak Bantu. And everyone speaks Bantu. And if you want to watch TV, you're going to have to learn English. Anyway, I think we got a little bit distracted, but it was fun, you know. What day is it today? It's Monday. Alright, so 4 more days until Dungeons and Dragons. I'm going to go and upload the videos for my Lack of Entertainment channel now. They're really great. Hopefully you guys will like them. And thank you all for coming here. I stream regularly at the same hour every week. If you guys were entertained, hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Take care.